Live from the Panera Studios, it's the Reading with Robin show, brought to you each week by my friends at Panera Bread, where it's food as it should be. It's where I go to begin my day. There's nothing like that first cup of coffee in the morning. It's also where I go to meet up with friends, and sometimes I even run into a book club. Panera is the perfect place to host a meeting. Everyone's happy with their extensive menu, from the delicious soups and salads to the sandwiches and flatbreads. And don't forget the takeout. The summer months are coming, and who wants to cook? You can order ahead, and your dinner will be waiting for you. That's all at your local Panera Bread. And now, enjoy the show. Well, this treat has been a long time coming. It is amazing to me after all these years. I am just finally meeting author Susan Mallery now on the Reading with Robin show. It's crazy. We first started talking about Secrets of the Tulip Sisters in the winter when we were talking Wicked Tulip Flower Farm, and I have been looking forward to this. It's pub day. It's out. Secrets of the Tulip Sisters. Susan Mallery, welcome to Reading with Robin.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited. Say this is nice for me because I'm always nauseous on pub day, so this is a nice break.
Are you? Even after, okay, we were talking off air for a second. People should go to SusanMallery.com. You are quite prolific, and really you still get that feeling on pub day?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's really public. It's like a report card. Everybody gets to see. So, and it's hard because yes, I still do freak out. I feel really bad. I was at a bookseller the other day, and we were talking about the release, and she said, "Oh, I don't have my copies yet." And I think I got lightheaded. I think I went pale, and she's like, "Are you okay? Because we're going to get them." And I'm thinking, it's Friday.
Yes,
Friday. When? How can you not have?
I know.
So, yeah.
Have you spoken? Are they all set at that bookstore?
I don't want to know. At this point, there's nothing I can do. I mean, even if I started now driving to wherever the distribution place is, I would not get there in time.
And it's your baby, so you would feel like doing that. I mean, I know for the events I've had, crazy about making sure the books are here early. Then they'll say, when's the event? And I always want to lie, like on my children's due dates, but then they can go on your website and say that isn't true. So
yeah.
I want the books here because the book, you're there. The book meets your pair. You go together.
Exactly.
You and the book.
An off day is a rule. Normally it's the last Tuesday of the month or the first Tuesday of the month. So it's lovely, to be semi-alone and not, I don't know, out with Nora Roberts or Mr. Patterson. So I'm very appreciative of that, but it's a little bit, it's always anxiety producing. Are readers going to like it? Are they going to think the funny parts I thought were funny are good? Are they going to fall in love with the hero? Do they want to go have lunch at the Parrot Cafe? I mean, those are...
Yes, all that. Let me put your mind at ease. I mean, I think Nora Roberts and James Patterson should also be glad that they don't have to share the stage with you.
Aww.
And your readers are going to be thrilled. I mean, like I was saying, I first found out about this title in the winter when we were talking tulips, and I hope you come east at some point because you must see the Wicked Tulip Flower Farm in Rhode Island. It is just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how I got a hold of this book, and I've known your publicist, Emma, for a long time, but I thought this is the perfect book, and the cover is so gorgeous, and your fans are just going to freak out over it. So happy pub day and all of that good stuff. And
well, thank you.
Really soak it up. And everybody go to SusanMallery.com and check out all of everything that's going on. And you can find Susan on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram. And there was a really great story about, where did I see it, about how you met your husband.
That was
reveal.
The secret reveal. That was funny. Yes, because we were like trying to come up with the secret to go with the Secrets of the Tulip Sisters, and we're all brainstorming. And I said, well, nobody knows how Mike and I met, so that's good. And it is a funny story. I mean, and it's 100% true. Even though I'm a writer, that one is totally true. Because I do remember sitting in my office looking around thinking, I will never meet anyone. And the UPS guy came, and it was Carol. And I'm like, hi, Carol. And she probably doesn't think I'm her type either. So I felt really isolated. It was hard. yeah, that was very funny. But and then I've gotten tons of comments from readers who also met their significant other match and harmony and all that stuff.
Yeah, an AOL chat group. Is that what I heard? Is that what it was?
It was a chat room, yeah. Back in the day, you would. I created this whole profile, put so much thought into it, and you would just, as a woman, you would just go into the chat room and you wouldn't participate. You would just sit there, and people would check your profile and then instant message you. And I type really fast, so I could manage. I had 5 conversations at a time, one in each corner and one in the middle. So I could really work my way through. And yes, the advice I gave is true. Please, please, I beg you, if you have sons or grandsons or brothers, do not start any conversation talking about your male attribute. Nobody wants to know.
Nobody wants to know. I don't know why.
No, it's
There's
like
a fallacy about that. Yeah.
Yes, and the first day I was like, oh, thank you, no. And then by the second day I was just delete.
Yes,
yes, no.
Accept. Yes, that's the beauty of technology. And I'm chatting secrets, and this one's out. It is Secrets of the Tulip Sisters. Susan Mallery's latest is out today. I know people have been talking, there's some that the pre-orders are out and advanced copies, and people are chatting about it, and your fans are just going to go crazy because it's everything that people love about your best-selling, New York Times best-selling books, and you have many. And SusanMallery.com, you can see all of, that's the best thing. If you're just meeting Susan now at Secrets of the Tulip Sisters, which would be hard to imagine, but if you are, you can go back and just have like a book party. You can keep yourself busy all summer, I think, with these titles. And, your readers must think of you as a friend, at this point, and knowing what they want. And what is it like coming up with new ideas, certainly, because your readers know what they want to expect, but they always want a little something different. So how did the Tulip Sisters, like this story, how did that one emerge?
Well, I love, we have our own tulip growing area here. It's really La Conner and the Skagit Valley. So, and we go every year. It's beautiful. It's an amazing thing to see. And the last time when we went a couple of years ago, because we went this year, I'd already written the book, but I was just looking around thinking, what do they do when the tulips are gone? Does it really just sit here empty? And I started to get intrigued. And when I'm working, because the hardcovers are standalone stories rather than part of a series. Right. And so I was kind of playing with characters, and I thought, I've never done a farmer, and we need potatoes more than we need tulips, but somehow tulips seem more romantic than potatoes. So that became really fun, and so that's how it starts for me. I had the sisters. They're estranged a little bit. I had that. I had the idea of secrets, and from there, once I got the tulips, that sort of pulled it all together. And then I confess, the Griffith's career, he builds tiny homes, that came about because I got caught up in a tiny home marathon. I'm like, I love this. Did you?
Oh, I love
so
those.
Much.
Do you have one? Do you have a tiny home?
No, but I did a lot of research. Oh gosh, no. I would need a tiny home just for books. And then you're defeating the purpose. I would need a tiny home library. Yeah. And then next to it, no, and I have pets. Yeah. They need room.
Right.
So we would end up with a compound of tiny homes, and we might as well just live in a regular.
Like a little village of tiny homes.
A little village, yes, the Mallery village. So, but that's how it started, and then it kind of grew. And one of the things that was most fun, and I consider this my gift to my readers, is Sven the Viking god.
Oh, yes, Sven.
He was supposed to just almost be a walk-on, and he just became this amazing character, and it's like the whole ending, everything changed.
Isn't that surprising?
Became this real character, yeah.
I mean, that you can still, as a writer, think that he's a walk-off, just an incidental sort of character, and that he becomes the front and center as a writer, and you're writing it. It's always amazing to me, but this is what happens, that you sort of see where it might take you and what he starts to mean to the storyline and what your readers will think of him.
I hope they love him, because I do. And he was just so charming and delightful, and then it sort of you really can grow apples in the Skagit Valley, but you can't process them, and nobody's going to drive them to Eastern Washington. And I have a friend, her husband bought Blueberry Farm in Vancouver, and they make wine exclusively for the Chinese market.
Wow.
So that's all real. It's crazy.
And that's the best part about that. And are they doing events? Like, that's one thing that's really cool. I mean, it's not tulip season now, but I suppose when the paperback comes out, is it tulip season? I don't know. I mean, I'm always imagining where these events take place. Here,
oh, that would be fun.
Sort of end of April. Yeah, I would love to plot to, we did wind up having a wonderful book party at Wicked Tulip Flower Farm for Ellen Herrick's The Forbidden Garden. So my first idea was to have Secrets of the Tulip Sisters, but the timing didn't work with the book because it's out today, July 11th. So there you go.
Right, exactly, not in April.
No, but I'm always planning because I just love the way these, because your readers especially, they're fun people and they like an experience.
They are.
Right? And when you talk about the wine and the fruits and everything and the tiny houses, have a tiny house party. Wow.
Well, not many people can come. But you mentioned earlier, the readers must feel like we're friends. I totally believe that. They are.
Sure.
They're so there for me, and especially with social media now, we can really communicate, and they'll give me the names of the town, the name of the antique mall that kept changing. Those were all reader names.
I love that. So you really, I can see you really do engage. And go to SusanMallery.com for more information. Find her on Facebook. You have so many followers, so engaging, and on Twitter and on Instagram. How do you manage that time? I mean, as a prolific writer, on top of that, all of and everything that you do and your beloved pets. I mean, how do you manage the social media aspect?
It has to be scheduled time, because if it's not, it's the day, and then nothing gets written. So that's what it is. A lot of it is about, okay, from this time to this time, or when I write 5 pages, I can go spend 20 minutes. When I finish,
so you're good.
When I write my next 5 pages, I get to do this again. And sometimes, like for, you can schedule posts in advance. So for the, the housekeeping things, I have a book out today, or my assistant Janelle will help with the quotes of the day, that kind of stuff. So those are done in chunks, big chunks. But and then the fun stuff, the cute cat dog pictures, those are just spontaneous. So, but you have to, at least for me, I have to set either a timer or I use it as a reward system. So it's sort of like I'm going to write this report and then I'm going to go chat with somebody at the coffee thing. That's what it is for me. I get to go hang out with people I really like and have a good time because I finished my pages. And now it's, so.
It's a job, and I think sometimes readers forget that. Where's Susan? We want to hang out with her. Well, she's got to write more because we want to read more. It's a lot to manage, but like anything, you compartmentalize. But I like the idea that it's a reward, and just sort of waiting for that piece of it because how much time and people sort of like to hear what the writer's day is like. If you want to walk us through typical day or how you manage.
Well, it always starts with the pets. Need maintenance, so feeding and cleaning up after. And I remember the first time I hit the New York Times list, a writer friend called and said, "Oh my gosh, how is it? How do you feel? Is it different?" And I said, "Hold on, because I have tiny dogs, so just a Kleenex is required. I need to go flush dog poo, and then we can talk." So that has not changed. That is exactly the same. So everybody gets fed. Then I try to shower on a regular basis. I won't say daily because I am a writer, but on a regular basis, there are those days it's like, God, I can't remember. I should go shower now. And then I really try to be at my computer by 7:30. I have cats, so we're up early here.
Wait, the cats get up early? They do?
Oh, yeah. Well, especially in the summer. It's daylight here at about 4:15.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I just figure they sort of graze and their food's out. I'm a dog person, so I don't really know the life habits of the cats.
You can't do dry food with cats anymore. It's not good for them.
Oh, okay. See, what do I know,
wet
Susan?
food. Yeah, I miss the days of free feeding. That was lovely.
Yeah.
So everybody gets in their place, and the cats will wander in. But yeah, I am at my desk by 7 usually, and I try to be writing between 7:30 and 8. And then my goal is to have my pages done by noon. That doesn't mean the work is done, but the actual writing is done, and then I manage everything else in the afternoon, be it copy edits, or we're currently having a title discussion about next year's hardcover. That's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, or we will go 3 days where they will discuss font. At some point, I confess, I excuse myself from the font conversation because it is that or find a tall building and throw myself from it, because that makes me insane. But apparently it's a thing. Oh, and my agent, whom I adore, wants to talk about paper. And it's like, no, I draw the line at paper. I will not discuss paper.
Right, the hard work. And that's the thing. And again, I think one of the things that I know the Reading with Robin audience loves is all of these pieces that go into, people wouldn't really think about the font or the paper or the end papers or the cover or title, certainly, but it all matters so much. So when the reader holds this gorgeous finished product, so much has gone into it, so many decisions. And then as the writer, you let go of all that, and this is what's out in the world, and it's out today, and it is gorgeous, and it's Secrets of the Tulip Sisters, and it's Susan Mallery's latest. I think secrets, I mean, what is a great novel without tons of secrets? And when you're writing this, and we don't give secrets away on the show because, of course, the book's just coming out, no spoilers, but how do you sort of, as you're writing, bury your secrets, or take one that, not to give it away, but like how you're able to sort of pace it out so that the reader isn't going too far ahead and you're giving clues. Like, that always seems like just such a magical process to me. It
is all structured. I completely structure my novels in advance. So before I even start writing, I have the entire novel structured. And in a book like Tulips of the Secret Sisters, there's 2 sisters and a friend who is an honorary sister. So it's 3 women. Each of them have a point of view, and then one of the heroes has a point of view. So it's 4 points of view. But for me, it's 3 separate storylines.
Oh, okay.
So I do them one at a time. I would have done Kelly. I'm trying to remember who I did. I would have done Kelly first. So I structure her, and I have an approximate amount of the book that she can have. So Kelly was the biggest story, so she gets a tiny bit more than Olivia or Helen. So I know about how many scenes that is, and so I structure her entire story, and then I do that for all 3 of them. But then what I do is there needs to be, and I don't know if they have a real name, but I call them anchor scenes. So they're pivotal scenes that affect all 3 of them. And so it's like a place where all 3 stories come together, and I'm physically clasping my hand as I say this. So it sort of scrunches the book right there. Yeah, and there needs to be 3 or 4 places for me where they scrunch together and everything gets jumbled up. So by plotting them individually, but then making them scrunch together, what happens is Kelly has a crisis and we're just starting resolution, and then Helen has something and we're just starting that, and that's why it feels like secret after secret after secret, because when it's put together, they're tumbling one after the other. But when I'm structuring it, it's very linear for me. And then I work on the next one, and then I figure out how I can get them to weave together, and then I add the third one like a braid. So that's
very interesting. Yeah,
structuring that book, or I'm writing next year's hardcover. The structuring process takes me 3 weeks. But let's remember, I haven't written a word on the book.
There's that. Oh, there's that.
This is just structure. I mean, I know the scenes, but I haven't started writing. And so once I get it all figured out, I'm, writers are either plotters, we plot in advance, or pantsers, you write by the seat of your pants. I am a solid plotter.
Yeah, that's me in life. I'm a pantser. But I can see where, it's really fascinating to hear the way you describe it, and I could picture you sort of smushing everything as you were talking about that. So 3 weeks to get that done. Okay, so now I see it.
And then I have to write, basically 115,000 words over the next 4 months.
Well, there's that.
So but it will take me about 3 weeks to get to the point where, okay, now I can start writing, and then I go. And all the big problems are solved. Now, things still change, like Sven. I had to stop about a third of the way through and work on the structuring, mostly with Olivia, as Sven got bigger and bigger. But the cool part, I won't say what it was, but because Sven's character became bigger, it allowed a final little secret / twist with Olivia and Kelly that was like, oh, I love that. So it was very cool.
I was thinking when that happens, you must just go like, okay, I get to be on social media for 30 minutes now. I just
yes, I get an extra 10-minute reward. If they're real, to me, if they become real into the writing universe, then they go forth and they do what they do. And sometimes I look at them and say, are you sure you want to make that choice? Because it's incredibly dumb. Nope, this is what I'm doing. I don't care. It's like, all right, but later I'm going to be saying I told you so over and over again.
Exactly. Don't say I didn't talk about this with you ahead of time. And I'm chatting with Susan Mallery. Secrets of the Tulip Sisters is out today, so grab your copy. They're available everywhere, and this is one of those books that you're going to want to share with your friends. And secrets, flowers, sisters, I mean, you have all of my favorite things and some really good sex scenes. So, like, talk about writing those and where do you draw that inspiration?
It's really funny because, as a rule, I love, there were writers who complained about 50 Shades of Grey, and I'm like, no, it's perfect, because now when people say, how sexy are your books, we have a joint frame of reference. So I'm about a 27 out of 50 author as a rule. This book, well, it's not that the sex is unusual. There is a lot, and I will tell you, that got edited down. There was even more sex in this. Long. It's a great vacation read because
it's a great summer read.
You can fly to Europe on this book. So she said there seems to be quite a bit of sex, which it didn't feel like when I was reading it. So like 3 scenes were taken out. It's just, for me, I've written a lot of books, so the actual thrill of I get to write naughty things is gone. So for me, it has to come from character. It has to come from where the couple is in their relationship. And what I love about this book is Kelly and Griffith have a very traditional romance. And the structure of it is fairly traditional. They have some interesting rules in place, but it is fairly traditional. Whereas Olivia and Sven, to me, that's like, if I was her age and in her social position, not married, or involved, Sven is like, this is the coolest booty call fantasy.
Sven. Yeah, it's Sven.
Yeah, because, and I will share a tiny secret. The man cooks. It's like, okay, great sex, and then he'll cook for you. This is wonderful. And then Helen's relationship has a totally different vibe. It goes in a different direction. It's funny. There's a wistful quality to it that I love. So I love that they're so different, and I like that because I don't want 3 relationships that are the same. Then why not just have one and talk about something else?
I think the way the sisters, and we'll include Helen and the sisters, the way they relate to each other but also make accommodations for each other's choices, all while still sort of guiding their own ships and really watching the growth, I think. And so, when you really are close to somebody's sister friend, cheering for them and understanding where there are differences and that you can sort of get past those but still honor that friendship. There's just that bond, the sisterly bond is really something I can read about all the time. People have different perspectives on it, but I've always drawn to that in a novel. So this book has so much going on in it, and it will
last. No, it is. It is definitely one of those where you are a lot of pages, which I like, and a lot of stories. So I don't want a book that's long for the sake of being long. One of the best things for the reader, not for me, is when an author writes a book that's too long, you trim, which is so much stronger for the story. So this is a book that was trimmed, so it's, I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, and you want a lot in there. You want, when there's a book that is, I like a long book when, like you're saying, where it makes sense and it's been trimmed. And the thing is, when you're so invested in the storytelling, you don't want it to end. It needs to end at some point, but you really don't want it to. So it's very satisfying. Plus you have recipe at the end, which I think
know.
is really cool. And, of course, I'm sure so many of your readers must be in book clubs, and there's nothing like making a recipe from a book for a book club. And you have a book club in this book. Are you in a book club yourself?
I am not. I've been in book clubs, but I try not to say who I am, but they inevitably find out, and then nobody talks.
I would think, right? I mean, because
they're all like, oh. So I have been in a couple, but yeah, it's hard because I don't know. I wouldn't go into romance. I've done mystery and I've done, just novels. And no, it doesn't. By the third one, I'm outed. It's like, do you work in publishing? God. Why?
Yeah, no, I
don't talk about thematic focus.
I know. It's really hard to sort of keep all those things, and especially when you want to spill some secrets. And it's like cat and a canary kind of thing. But you have the blintzes in here. You also have questions, and you have, questions for book club discussions. And do you Skype in? I mean, I don't know what the time is.
Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. In fact, I have a Skype in a couple of weeks, and I do them a lot. They're fun. It's a fun way to reach an audience. Because I can't get on the plane and go see everybody. I'd love to, but then we would all never have a book again. So
never. You would never have a book.
I couldn't.
That would be the end of that. No.
Skype is great. And then we always have the hysterical moment when Alex walks across my desk and just a tail blots out the camera just for a moment.
That's the best. You don't know it's live. You don't know what's going to happen. So if you're looking for a great book club read, take a copy of this to your book club and say, we need to read Sisters of Tulip Sisters, and we might be able to get Susan to Skype in with us. And I always encourage book clubs to do that. Also, visit Susan's Facebook page, like it, and it's really important to put Amazon and Goodreads reviews up. It's really wonderful for the authors when you do that, and I always like to suggest that to my readers. And you mentioned the next book, so that will come out next year around this time. Is that it?
Yes, I have a couple of mass markets. I'm starting a new series set in a little town called Happily Inc. That's this fall. The next trade will be out in March, and there's an excerpt in the back of Tulip Sisters.
I saw that. That's why I was wondering about that
and
one.
And it's also Sisters. Oh, it's hysterically funny. And then, yes, I am overwriting next year's hardcover. Trimming is to come. I'm very clear on that already. It's just like, wow, it wasn't. And I tried really hard to plot it shorter. These people need to solve their problems so we can move on to the next phase.
So when you're in that next phase and you're talking about this next one and you're going back and forth on the title, where in your mind do, Kelly and Sven and Olivia, where do they rest? How front and center is that storyline now that the book is out today?
Once the book is gone for me, it's gone right up until 3 weeks before publication, and then it comes back up. I review what it is, and because I finished this a year ago. I've written 4 books since then, so it's always a little. That's why some people don't know what day it is, which I also don't know, but I have trouble knowing what year it is because my publication schedule is a year out.
Right.
So I sent a pitch, which is basically a couple pages, unless I'm feeling especially wordy, about what the book's going to be about, so that my editor can review it to make sure they haven't. The Cosmos sends out the same storyline to every author, and sometimes we all grab it at the same time. So
I know, what is that? Because it is amazing to me when that happens, and you think you're writing in a vacuum. You've got your ideas in your head, and then books will come out, and you think, wow, 2 people were thinking, or 3 of Georgia O'Keeffe, or Hemingway, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And,
or suddenly everyone's a wedding planner. It's like, how does this happen? So I send that out to her, but I just sent her a couple months ago. I sent her the pitch for the trade books that I will write starting the first of the year that will be published in 2019. That's where I am. I'm already playing with next year's. And when I say next year's hardcover, it's the book I'm writing next summer that won't be out for 2 years. I just got one of the characters over the weekend. It was very exciting.
That must be a really big. So you're you're in the next decade, or you're there's nothing a writer staying in the moment is kind of an oxymoron, I suppose.
And when the year changes, it's oh, thank goodness, I've been here.
Yeah.
but then I'm in the next year. So I will occasionally stop and say, it's 2017 still? Yes?
It is, and it's Pub Day. It's July 11th. It's Tuesday. It's Secrets of the Tulip Sisters. Before I let you go, Susan, because I know you have writing to do, what are you reading, Seppa? What would you like to recommend, friends' books or books that you have on your stack or that you're hoping to get to?
I have a lot of books I'm hoping to get to, but one of the problems I have found because I write so much, I can no longer read what I'm writing. Mm-hmm. And that's become a super big problem when I'm writing it. So I can only read romance or women's fiction between books. I read a lot of YA because great. I love it and I think the writing is brilliant. But I have started reading, shockingly, nonfiction, and I don't know how to admit that as a romance writer.
You just did. Well, romance can be nonfiction too, right?
I know, but I think I'm going to be drummed out. So I am, So right now I'm reading a book about the first ladies in the White House. And it's fun.
Like that.
It's fun because my idea of decorating is washing the sheets. So when someone actually can do something, which is why I love HGTV and stuff. So yes, that's what I'm reading now. I have a stack of nonfiction that I'm reading. And a lot of times I'll get really interesting, I get ideas from everywhere. I get them from the catalogs I get and all of that. So I'm always on the lookout for the next really interesting thing.
Well, luckily for your readers, they continue to come because your catalog is just amazing. SusanMallery.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Run out and get your copy of Secrets of the Tulip Sisters and just sink into this gorgeous read. Susan, this was such a treat. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. You were wonderful.